this episode, I finally tell you the truth.
That is very, very irritating. Well, it's happening. Look at this business. This is quite miserable. I will buy Brent one of these cameras.
What was that?
Nothing. Oh, are you listening? I polarise that. You just see through the surface of the water.
Focus on the beauty.
Huh?
He's not looking. Right, I'm gonna get that sandwich yet. It's too easy, just too easy.
I've actually had to get underneath my jacket because the sun is so bright.
It should be. It's a bloody expensive camera. It's just really steep.
Oh.
What do you think I am, a rich and successful YouTuber? It's 5 a.m. at Lake Louise, and already there's a traffic jam. It's pretty much crawling along the road at 30 kilometers an hour. Now, I'm hoping that the reason for this bottleneck is that just right here is a left turn for Moraine Lake. I'm guessing that they're probably just saying, it's full, turn around and leave. But we're headed to Lake Louise so that we can get up to Lake Agnes. So I'm hoping that we can still get in there, but this is what you're dealing with now. And I guess I'm to blame because I take pretty pictures of this place and put them on YouTube, so it's nobody's fault but my own, is it? It's like a mountain nightclub, one person in, one person out. With all this traffic, this is, it's not even 6 a.m. This is the traffic coming into Lake Louise. It's just mayhem. Absolute mayhemers. Okay, so we've hit the trail for Lake Agnes and we're about 45 minutes late, would you say?
Yeah.
But it's a carnival, it's ram-jammed. But it's kind of weird to be walking past Lake Louise while it's got a perfect reflection and just not take a shot. But that's time we can't waste.
No, we got to get up there. We've already seen a couple of lights near the top of the mountain. People got up earlier.
Yeah, someone's up there getting our shot, bastards. So onwards and upwards, eh?
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a good morning, though. There's no low-lying cloud. The sun should be shining directly on the mountains. I think we're good.
We're about 45 minutes up the trail. So I reckon 15 or 20 minutes from the lake. I don't think it was a good idea to drink that NyQuil after some red wine.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure on the bottle it says do not take with bows.
It does.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, always read the label. There's only one glass, yeah. Usually have a bottle. No, I don't really. Right, let's go for the last push, eh? Oh God, I'm knackered.
Now, if you haven't already, do us a favour and hit that subscribe button and be sure to tickle my bell. Thank you very much. So after a steep uphill slog, we finally reached the stairway to heaven after expending 2,000 calories.
Oh, we're almost there. Almost at the tea house. There's this last ginormous staircase. It's just what you need. Oh, I see it. I see the tea house. There it is.
Just as you round the corner to the tea house, the view reveals itself, and you forget every painful step, the lack of sleep, and the skipped breakfast. This is a feast for the eyes, as Lake Agnes pours over the cliff and into the valley of the rising sun.
So this, quite obviously, is Lake Agnes, and apart from the light, the conditions are perfect because it's like a flat, calm mirror. It's completely surrounded by yellow larches, more than I expected actually, and there's some amazing driftwood in the foreground. All the ingredients are here for an absolutely perfect shot, except for the light. I believe it's time for a sandwich, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm freezing. It's covered in sweat and I'm gibbering. All right, sandwich time. Did you bring coffee?
No.
Kill me. We arrived sweaty and had to immediately layer up because it got windy. But then it calmed down, so now I've got this beautiful reflection back and I've set up my composition, so let me show you this. So in the foreground I found this lovely piece of driftwood, you could call it, and I'll polarize this a smidge. Let's just turn that polarizer. There you go. If I polarize that, you can just see through the surface of the water. kept that reflection. So you can see some of these rocks and a little bit of the rest of the log that these roots are attached to, which conveniently just kind of disappears off into the distance towards the mountain there. But what I'm loving, hopefully you can hear me because there's some very loud people here. But hopefully you could see all of these larch trees. They just come in from the top left and from the top right. They just rim this entire valley. And then of course those are beautifully reflected. So all I need, I've got everything except for just a bit of light hitting those peaks. That is all I need. And if I get that, I think I've got a fantastic shot.
Now, if you're thinking of visiting the Lake Louise area, you need to adjust your expectations accordingly, because even at sunrise, well, you remember the car park, right?
It's so peaceful and tranquil.
Focus on the beauty.
I can just see a tiny bit of pink and some contrast in those clouds in the far distance. So if that just hits that peak there, just even a little bit, and then reflects, well worth getting up at stupid o'clock and hiking up and sweating, and then freezing and then sweating. So Brent has continued hiking up there. So if we've still got any energy after this, then we'll hike up and join him. Now it's sandwich time. This time it is sandwich time, now that I've set my shot up.
But I wasn't the only one who wanted a sandwich.
Has he got a sandwich? I'll get it when he's not looking. I got ya. Just chuck this onion. Yeah.
What the
This guy, he's just clueless.
Huh?
He's not looking. Right, I'm gonna get that sandwich yet. It's too easy, just too easy. You look like a banana too.
Ah well, even though I lost my breakfast to a cheeky camp robber, with a view like this and my lady by my side, I still felt like a rich man. I know, it's nauseating.
So obviously this is Lake Agnes, but it's kind of famous for being an hour's hike from Lake Louise and the tea house. So if you've got $1 million, you can pay for an overpriced instant coffee with some powdered milk and a stale muffin, and it's actually quite the experience. I don't know, it's been a few years since I was there, so maybe it's good. Maybe they sell good coffee now and fresh baked goods, I don't know. But I think last time I was there it was cash only, so I think you can order outside at the window and then just drink your coffee on the deck there and enjoy the view, which when you think about it, it's about as good as it gets.
So we settled in to wait for the light, and it didn't take long before the sun began to paint the valley with a golden glow.
Well, it's happening. Look at this business. Absolutely magnifique. So I've got beautiful light on the peaks, loads of contrast in the clouds, and an almost perfect reflection. It's getting a little bit ripply and windy, but it comes and goes. So I'm just going to camp on this spot, keep shooting, and hope for that perfect moment where this reflection is completely calm. You know what will be the icing on the cake as well? Now that I've got all of this blue and yellow, is if a blue jay came and just landed on that log that I've got in my foreground. But this is absolutely fantastic. Well worth the hike. This is absolutely brilliant. I've got the shot.
Did you?
I've got the shot.
No.
Yeah, got the shot.
No way.
Yeah.
This early in the day?
Yeah, first attempt. So I'll take one more, and then should we hike up and see if we can find Brent?
Oh.
Yeah, more hiking, yeah.
Is it far?
It's not far, it's just really steep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right, let's get cracking.
It was such a perfect morning that even I was happy to get back on the trail and continue hiking up that bloody steep mountain.
So this is how far we've hiked. You can just see the Lake Louise Chateau and the lake, actually Lake Louise there, and then the car park.
The higher we got, the more spectacular spectacular the views, and soon we'd be above those gorgeous yellow larch trees as they began to glow in that glorious morning sunlight.
Well, we've been on the trail about, what, 25-30 minutes?
Yeah.
So Brent said it was a 25-minute hike from Lake Agnes, so realistically you could double that. I would say 45 to 50 minutes. That sounds about right, eh?
Feels like it.
Yeah.
It's all up.
But it's so gorgeous in here. Just the larch trees everywhere, just epic mountain views everywhere you look. Just magic. So we've arrived at a spot. I think this is the viewpoint for Little Beehive because I've never been here before, but I think this hill that this mountain, this mound that is completely covered in larch trees, I believe that is Little Beehive. Maybe that's why they call it Little Beehive, because it's covered in those glowing yellow larches. Within a couple of minutes of arriving, I just found this absolutely gorgeous composition that takes in Little Beehive as it's glowing with these epic mountains and glaciers right behind it, and then just a little sliver of that lovely turquoise water down in Lake Louise, and then a little bit of lichen covered rock in the foreground. So let me just show you this shot that I've found. I think you're gonna like this.
I've actually had to get underneath my jacket because the sun is so bright. So this is my shot here. I'm really quite interested in this. I really quite like this. It's getting a little bit moist in here. It's a lot of condensation, so I better just crack on with this. Not sure if this is even in focus now. So let me just clean up this screen for you. Let's get rid of all this crap. There we go. So what we've got here, you can just see in the bottom left corner, that lovely turquoise water from Lake Louise. And I love these towering fir trees. In the foreground, I've got this little lichen subscribe covered rock with this little cliff here, and that makes a lovely immediate foreground. And then in the center of the frame, that's where you've got Little Beehive, and it's covered in those glowing yellow larch trees. And then beyond that, you've got those towering peaks with the glaciers and some puffy white clouds. Absolutely magnifique. Let's get the shot.
Well, after that delightful shot, I think I deserve a baby bell in the bush. I do love a baby bell in the bush. If you're watching, baby bell, get in touch. It'll be quite lucrative. Right, so after I think 2 weeks now, or 12 days, 14 days of shooting with the Fuji GFX100s and the 3 lenses that they lent me with this camera, I should probably give you my thoughts on the camera. And overall, I think it's an absolutely brilliant camera. I've only had the chance to study my RAW files on the laptop, so if I can give you like a full opinion on what I think to the image files, I'd like to see those on my full screen at home. But from what I can see on the laptop and on the back of the camera when you zoom in and check your focus afterwards, it's just phenomenal image quality. The only sort of annoyances really, and this is not necessarily Fuji's fault, it's pretty much every single camera system has annoyances, and that's usually in the menu system. So one of the things that annoys me the most is it's kind of like a software bug, in that if you switch the camera into crop mode, which I often do because I'm shooting video, and it's a really good way of punching in and zooming into a scene, especially if you've got a prime lens on and you need to get closer. When you switch into crop mode, you lose all of your aspect ratios. So if you want to switch to, let's say, a panorama or a square, you can't do that while it's in crop mode. And that is very, very irritating because it happens 5-6 times a day. So if you can fix that, Fujifilm, if you can fix that in a you know, firmware update. That would probably be my biggest gripe with the camera. But that's about it, really. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, it's
very minimal.
It is actually. I mean, it's, you know, it should be. It's a bloody expensive camera and expensive lenses. One thing I absolutely love is this. I don't know if you can see it on here, but you've got this little digital display on the top. So even when the camera's switched off, you can see what your last settings or your current settings are. Aperture, shutter speed, ISO, white balance, all of that business. You can see how much battery life you've got. You can see how many images you've got left on the memory card. And that's while it's switched off. So I imagine that uses up a minuscule amount of battery power. But it's nice to be able to have that at a glance, especially if you've got the camera low down on the ground and you're just standing around waiting for the light, which is something that I'm often doing. I'm always standing around waiting for light. It's nice to think, oh, have a quick glance. Oh yeah, it's set up right. It's at the right shutter speed. I do like having this switch here. There's a switch that switches you between stills and movie mode. The only thing that kind of confused me a little bit, and I guess it's not an issue now, now that I've figured it out, is that you can't change any of your frame rates or anything like that until you switch it into movie mode. So if you're in stills mode and you're going through the menu system looking at trying to set different video settings, like perhaps switching it from MOV to MP4, you can't do that unless you switch into movie mode. So I guess it's not a big issue, it's just the logic didn't really make sense to me until I accidentally stumbled across it and then I fixed it. In spite of it being, you know, supposedly a small mirrorless camera, it is quite a lot bigger than the Sony. So I'm filming this on the Sony a7R4 right now with my toy lens, my 10-18, and that whole thing weighs way less than half what this weighs. So this is the camera, the Fuji GFX100s with the 32-64 zoom lens, and it's heavy, I'm not going to lie, but then it's a medium format camera, right? And some DSLRs weigh more than that. Oh, thanks for that. Those are my sort of pretty shallow observations. Like I said, I haven't had long with it, and I've only really shot it in certain situations. I certainly haven't used it for any kind of wildlife or sports, and it isn't really that kind of camera. I mean, I think the burst mode is 5 frames per second. I might be wrong on that, but I think it's pretty slow because they're 100 megapixel files, right? So I don't think you would ever use this camera for sports or wildlife, but for landscapes, it has proven to be stunning. One final challenge that I am struggling with a little bit is the need to focus stack almost always. So even if you're sort of like 10-12 feet away from a rock in the foreground, if you've focused on a distant peak, even at let's say f11 or f16, you may have to focus stack that foreground even though it's not super close, otherwise it'll just be blurry. So that actually gives you more work to do, whereas if I was shooting that same composition on a full frame, I probably wouldn't have to focus stack, and I certainly wouldn't have to focus stack if I was shooting on an APS-C or a Micro Four Thirds. But you know, that's what people pay for. They pay for that shallow depth of field with these cameras because these are often used as portrait cameras. But I just use it for landscapes and the occasional bit of video for vlogging and B-roll. So overall, expensive camera, but bloody brilliant. I've got to say, it's bloody brilliant. Ask me when I get home and I've looked at the raw files on the big screen, and then I'll give you a very educated opinion on what the final results look like. Well, you've already seen the final results in this video because obviously I've already got home and edited the video so that you're seeing this. I think Brent's really jealous that I've got this because he's only got 50 megapixels. I've got 100.
Maybe you should buy one for him.
What do you think I am, a rich and successful YouTuber?
No, not yet, but maybe if you get to 1 million subscribers.
1 million subscribers, wouldn't that be nice? Then I could maybe buy Brent. I tell you what, 1 million subscribers by Sunday, and I will buy Brent one of these cameras. No lenses though, that's taking the piss. Oh, now, what do you think? Now Fuji, they think that they've lent me this camera. They think that they're going to be getting it back. But I believe that I've done such a good job at promoting this camera. I think they should just let me keep it. And the lenses. So if you think that I should keep this camera and the 3 lenses, just post a comment below and just say, Fujifilm, just give him the camera. Because it's not as if I'm going to stop promoting the camera. The longer I keep this, the better it's going to be for Fujifilm, right?
Agreed.
Agreed.
For like a 1-year trial at least.
Yeah, a 10-year trial at least. Maybe like a 2 or 3 year trial until the newer version comes out. And then just keep sending me the newest versions. So they are on loan, just very long term. I think that's fair. Should we see if we can find Brent? But looking for Brent always means uphill. I don't like doing that.
It's always up.
Always up.
You know, we get these nice walks with Uncle Grumpy, you know? And then we meet Brent and it's like...
I mean, he is a sadist because he's a personal trainer. And why else would you do that job unless you loved dishing out suffering and misery to people and charging them for it? Oh, what's this I see on the trail? Mr. Brent Henderson. How's it going? Did you get a good shot?
Big stupid grin on my face.
Yeah.
There's so many good shots I can't even choose.
Oh, that's what you want, isn't
That's
it?
a good problem to have.
Were you down at Little Beehive first?
No, I went straight to this spot. This is the spot I found last year.
Where is it?
I'll show you.
Oh, let's have a look.
Oh yeah.
Everybody needs a friend like Brent. You know, those friends that drag your ass up a mountain no matter how much you whinge about it. And you know us Brits, we like a good whinge, don't we? Yeah.
So I'm a little bit annoyed at myself that I didn't come to this spot first, because, I mean, I can't necessarily say it's better than where we just were, but it is simpler. It gives you a simpler composition and there's more larch trees. But we're probably going to come back here throughout the rest of the week, because now that we know exactly where this is, it's not that difficult to get here. I would say maybe an hour and a half hard slog, push up the hill in the dark, and that's it. You're here for a sunrise that could potentially be a portfolio shot, or even a shot that's worthy of my next book. Little teaser there. Alright, so I should probably just explain this composition to you, because this might turn out to be my favourite shot so far. So I'll show you the back of the camera and explain what I've framed up. Does this look sexy, love?
I like it, yeah.
Do I look stylish?
It's not chest waders, but it's quite nice.
Alright, okay, well, this will have to do. So what I've gone for here is a square composition, and I absolutely love this because it simplifies the scene quite a lot whilst featuring all of the most interesting elements. In the foreground here, we've got these huge rocks, and you might not be able to see it, but just right there, this particular rock here has all of these waves, these textured waves in it, which Brent assures me is from when it was under the ocean. Or maybe some glacial action, I don't know, but Brent seems to reckon that that is carved by liquid, which is kind of a cool idea. I can barely breathe. I'm bent over, being crushed by my own gut under a down jacket, under 2 tripods. This is quite miserable. Anyway, the rest of the composition. So in the valley, you can see this lovely slash of larch trees, this lovely dash of yellow through the valley, and then there in the center of the frame is Big Beehive, rimmed by beautiful glowing yellow larch trees. Quite spectacular. And then beyond that, of course, you have these massive mountain peaks covered in glaciers, and then if I just darken this down, you'll see these dark grey moody clouds. So I love all of the elements because you've got foreground, middle ground, background, and then this central subject here, which is Big Beehive. But I've also got that lovely colour combo of these dark grey clouds popping against all of this lovely yellow light in the centre of the frame. Absolutely magnifico. Oh God, that was a struggle, I'll tell you that. Did it look good though?
It's real sexy.
Real sexy. I thought so. It's quite good on the glutes actually. And if it turns out any good, here's the shot. it's well over an hour since we bumped into Brent, apparently on our way down the hill. And what do you know, we're still shooting over an hour later. And I know I always whinge about Brent never knowing when to quit. But in this instance, it was the right thing to do, was to stick around. So he was right in this instance.
What was that?
Nothing. Oh, are you listening?
No, just say that again, please.
I was talking about aperture. The aperture.
No, no, just one more time. What you said before. Again, please.
Yeah, so f11 was a really good aperture for this. Yeah.
Forget it.
Hopefully Brent doesn't watch this video, and so here is Brent's shot.
Okay, so just so that you can get your bearings and have some kind of clue as to where we are. So Brent tells me that where we are right now is Little Beehive. Is that right, Brent?
If you don't mind, while I have this on, could you call me Fabien?
You want to be referred to as Fabien?
Fabien.
Fabien?
Fabien.
Only when you've got the syrup on?
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is Little Beehive, but if you look over here, you can just see that's Lake Agnes there. So that's where we were shooting that very first shot during sunrise this morning, just on the shore of Lake Agnes. You might be able to see a few people lined up. That's where we were. So we hiked all the way up here, and now we're at this little cliff. So apparently this is called Big Beehive, and then you might be able to just see some people stood on that little promontory. Is that a word? You might be able to see people stood just there on that cliff, and that's called Devil's Thumb. And of course down here is Lake Louise. So now I've got my bearings a little bit, I've got some sort of a clue as to where I am. I want to one day, when I'm fit and strong enough, when I've grown up, I want to be up there on that Devil's Thumb. Because I've seen pictures from there, it just looks absolutely magnifique. How much longer do you think it would take to get up there? Sorry, Fabien.
Fabien, yeah. Probably about hour and a half from here, eh?
If Fabien says 1.5, it's 3 hours.
What a fantastic day we had. We got some much needed exercise, captured some tasty images, and even met a few cute little critters like this guy. But all good things come to an end.
So it's time to say goodbye to this beautiful location, and we'll see you later, Brent.
Fabien. It's Fabien.
Fabien?
Fabien.
Fabien?
Fabien.
Fabien?
Canadian, Fabien.
Alright, see you later, Fabien. Oh, we're almost back at the camp. Oh, look at you! Absolutely beautiful. I really miss my cats, actually.
Oh my god, are you Gavin Hardcastle?
I am Gavin Hardcastle. Yeah. Are you a troll?
No, I'm a really big fan.
You're a fan? Mm-hmm. How big of a fan?
Like, #1 fan.
#1 fan. So you bought my book then?
No, I haven't bought your book though.
You just said #1 fan though, like.
I don't have any money to get it though.
Have you got a credit card?
No.
What about cash?
No.
I'll take a check.
How many checks are you there?
I tell you what, seeing as you don't have any money, I'll take an IOU, right? And when you're older and you've got a credit card, you can buy whatever book I've got out at that time, right? Yeah? Good. It'll be a lot more expensive than the current book, but that's all right with me. So I'll give you a copy for free right now, right?
Really?
There you go. Look at that business. How's that?
Oh, that's so amazing.
It really is amazing. And there's a link in the description below. Yeah.
I can't believe I actually got one.
Enjoy, yeah.
Are you gonna sign it?
You want it signed?
Yeah.
Bit cheeky, innit? All right. J-A-Y.
L-I-N.
L-I-N.
You're a #1 fan.
Well, not
not really a number one fan, is it? Till you get that credit card, you know what I mean? Look at that, eh?
Wow.
That's worth, I would say that's worth at least another $3 more since I signed it. You know, if I see that on eBay though, I'll be a bit upset. No selling of that. Or Facebook Marketplace either. Alright. Which one of these dogs are we taking?
I think this one is ready to go.
Are you coming with us? Right, it's been your absolute pleasure to meet us, and enjoy the book. See you later.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.